To generate content and supply the campaigns we're going to create in publishing, we can use the Menterprise content dashboard. This is included in your bundle. The main purpose is to supply a lot of content for all the tiers in the campaign, sometimes tens of thousands of pages, without waiting hours to do so. The other thing is avoiding duplicate content and having randomized rule-based HTML structure implemented in every single page. The way that this works is in two phases. Number one is generating the content. There's two ways to generate content. Number one is we start with the seed keyword or phrase up here and we click on generate articles. We can influence how the spintax is created, what language is created, and what different countries and things we're scraping content from in the options panel. The second way is to add custom. And if we click on add custom, we can add in any AI content from any tool and we'll be able to spin that and inject HTML as well. Both have their purposes. Generate articles can create the most amount of content, and add custom is the best for custom structured content like listicles or things like that. So those are the two ways to create content. Now I'm going to actually go to my history and load some that I've already generated. I'm going to load it without the modules. And on the right hand side, we're going to see that appear. Now, this is only 11 pages, which isn't that many. However, each one is tens of thousands of variations worth of spintax, so you're never really going to run out. But the reason is it's represented this way is it's much easier to manage. Each one is kind of the base for a lot of articles, and we're able to manage it like that. On the left-hand side, before we go and preview and have a look at each one, on the left-hand side, we have our modules. Now, the modules are rule-based individual modules to inject HTML based on a bunch of settings. So instead of manually editing and injecting HTML, copy and pasting headers and things like that, we're able to do it within these modules. So for example, if I was to clear this out, in here, we can add in some keywords, we can add in a template, and then it will combine the two and spread them throughout our article automatically. So one example would be for plumbing. So if we were to do 24/7 plumbers, emergency plumbing, and then in the template, we were going to inject it ourselves, maybe in, around, servicing. And then based on our other videos, we can put a variable in here. And when that comes through, we're going to see a bunch of different variations in here. And if we respin the article, this preview a couple times, we're going to see that come through throughout the page. So there's a bunch of other rules in here like frequency and things, but you can see that we're kind of just putting a couple things in and then it's extrapolating from there. Same with things like images and videos. But my favorite thing to do with the images and videos is to actually just scrape them from online. This will embed them in the pages with reference to the original websites, which helps prevent footprint and also any licensing issues. So if we scrape, it'll then verify all of the images and give us a choice, but I'm just going to go with all of them and click on update. And we can do the same with some YouTube videos. I'm going to select all of those. And you can kind of see that each one of these processes is a simplified way of injecting all of this stuff. There's a bunch of other modules we won't go into in this video, but they're all kind of following this same pattern. And now we can click on import. We can put them at the top and we can click on update. So we can see these are highlighted now, saying that they're active, they're doing stuff. We're also being prompted to reapply the modules. So the content here, we don't have to regenerate, but the modules have changes. So we can click on that button and it will apply it to the content we've got over here. Now, if we click on preview, we're going to see sort of an example output here. One variation, if we click on respin, it'll keep changing. We can see our images and our videos in here. Now, importantly, on the left-hand side, there's actually more panes, and this is what we call the layers of the article. So on the left, we have the source, which is the original content that we've scraped and rewritten. This is what you might call, straight AI content, that kind of thing. Then in the middle, we have the spun content, which is the AI run through the spintax algorithm, which is of course much longer. And then on the right, we have the structured preview, which is taking this, applying all the modules and spinning it out. So with that out of the way, now we can actually copy and paste our content over into publishing. Now, there's a bunch of different variables in publishing, so we're often going to be putting them in here. You sort of saw that with the headers where we put the double square bracket city, but there's many places you can do that. So for example, in the raw module, which is a module just to import any HTML, it also includes templates. So if we were to choose our Google Map template here, Then instead of hard coding this, we could actually put city and state from our different locations in here that'll come from the sites, add the dynamic Google map, put it at the bottom, or maybe put it randomly through the page and click on update. And then we're going to see that that'll apply at the bottom of the page. And once we launch the campaign, it'll make a lot more sense. It'll show up with the exact location that the page has. Now, if we want to copy these over to publishing, we can do so with this copy icon. Copy for publishing is the best because it compresses it in your clipboard. Sometimes these are really, really huge, or you might have hundreds of articles. Another thing you can do is import articles in bulk. If you use something like Zimmwriter, which creates hundreds of articles, you're free to do that by add from clipboard, and it'll import them multiple at the same time. If you want to save your changes, you can do so, and you can also load your generations from your history so you don't have to wait to regenerate them if you're coming back to work or want to work on the same content again. And if you ever want to do a walkthrough that basically goes through the same things we've been through on this video, you can click on quick walkthrough and it will take you through every step.